Hey everyone, welcome back to another plan with me, and I'm actually really excited to do this plan with me because I have a new microphone that I am using to record this voiceover with. So I'm hoping that the audio sounds good. I am still playing with it. I got it like 2 weeks ago now, but this is the first time I'm actually using it for something, and I finally got brave enough to get it out of the box and start working with it. So hopefully this is a little bit of an upgrade as far as the audio goes. I'm really hoping so. If not, I do still need to play around with it a bit. And hopefully you can't hear too much background noise, but I am recording right next to my computer tower and the fan is a little bit loud, and I do have my windows open, so hopefully that is not too much of a distraction. But today we are going to be using this kit from my planner shop. So if you are trying to find this kit in my shop, it is called Department of the Poetically Tortured. I know it's a little bit of a tongue-tied, but you can never be too sure whenever things are very popular, they can easily be taken down. So it is, of course, inspired by the album of a very similar name by a very popular artist. And design wise, for me, this is a very different kind of kit. Like, I usually do very bright, girly, feminine kind of things, and this one is definitely a very dark, moody kind of color palette and design. Of course, obviously it's inspired by the album, so I did of course take inspiration from that, and overall I love how this one turned out. There's again kind of some little hints here and there to the album and lyrics and things like that. So overall I'm really happy with how this kit turned out, and definitely something very different than what I typically do. So I love that I kind of stepped out of my comfort zone a little bit with designing this kit and just kind of creating something a little bit different than what you have seen from me time and time again. And as far as for the week that I actually chose to use this kit for, I think it actually worked out pretty well because it is a very dark and gloomy kind of kit design. I think it worked out quite well for the week that I chose to use it for. But now in real time, as I'm recording this voiceover portion, it is now just a couple days after Christmas, and I am just kind of really glad to have the holidays behind us now. It's definitely like a very fun kind of time, but it's also a little bit stressful, and I wanted to give an update on my giftless Christmas this year and just kind of like let you guys know how that went, anything I would change, my overall thoughts on it, because I did talk in one of my previous plan with me's that I decided I wanted to do a giftless Christmas this year, which meant I was really only buying a few gifts for select people, and it was really just like the kids in my life. There's really only 2 kids in my life, so I did end up getting some gifts for them, and then I did get my boyfriend several gifts because his birthday is actually on the 23rd of December, so I couldn't not get him anything. So I got him several little things, and I called some of them Christmas gifts for him and some of them birthday gifts, but they were pretty much all like birthday gifts for him and things that I know he really likes and enjoys, really like functional kind of items and things that he enjoys. So I just tried to be very mindful with the gifts that I did get. And then as far as actually like giving gifts, I actually gave a lot of gifts this year, but they were things that I had made, which I don't know if I talked about this before or not, but this year my grandfather passed away, and I come from a very big family on my mom's side, and I knew that this year Christmas was just going to look very different as far as like my family. And when I say large family, I'm not kidding. So on my mom's side, she is one of 13 kids, which is pretty unheard of these days, and almost all of them have children of their own. So just the immediate family on my mom's side is extremely huge, and we all come together for the holidays at Christmas time at my grandfather's house, which is now still in the family with one of my other family members, now has moved in there, and we really wanted to try to keep, a lot of the traditions the same now that my grandfather is no longer with us. And my grandmother, she actually passed about 12 years ago. So now with both of them gone, it was just a very bittersweet Christmas, but we did try to keep a lot of things like we usually do. And we just have a big family gathering. Everyone brings food. Sometimes we do dirty Santa and things like that. And this year, just with it being so different, I knew I wanted to do something to kind of commemorate my grandfather, and not only my grandfather, but my grandmother as well. So, about around Halloween, I had this idea that I wanted to make a special batch of soap, one inspired by my grandfather and one inspired by my grandmother. So the one for my grandfather was actually the first one I came up with, and I knew that this was like everyone would kind of get it, and it would be like a really like a meaningful kind of gift. So my grandfather, I think he was like 94, I think. So he lived a really long life, and one of his favorite things ever was this whiskey that nobody else liked. It's not a popular one. It was very hard to find, but every year all the siblings would try to round up bottles of these of this whiskey that he really enjoyed and stock him up for the year. And it was just something that was what he enjoyed, and of a man of that age, you know, you gotta let them just enjoy what they enjoy. So there was this whiskey called Ancient Age, and if you've never heard of it, I am not surprised, because it is not very popular. It's one of those like alcohols that's so strong, rubbing alcohol level of burning. So he was always very known. That was like his signature drink. That was what he loved. And I decided to make a whiskey themed soap, and I made it look like the Ancient Age label. And my grandfather's name was Gilbert. So it was, of course, just perfect. So I made a label that said Gilbert's Ancient Age. And I made this brown whiskey scented soap with these little bottles of whiskey on the top, like little soap bottles. I actually had to custom make the mold for this one to make the little embeds for the soap, and it turned out so cute. I'm really happy with how it turned out. And then on the back I put his picture, I put the year that he was born and the year that he passed, and I put a little inscription at the bottom that said, in memory of the man who built this family. And so that was the original idea, to make the soap for him. But then, of course, when I started actually thinking about it, I'm like, there's no way I can make one for just my grandpa and not for my grandma. So I decided to make one in honor of her as well. And my grandmother, her name was Dorothy. She was very like well known for her rose bushes. She had beautiful rose bushes all over the garden and the house and everything. And all the sisters and family members, they'd take cuttings of the roses so that they could plant their own rose bushes at their houses. So she was very much known for her roses, and I knew that would be the perfect kind of like theme for her soap. So of course I made a rose scented soap for her, and it just turned out really cute. It was a confetti style soap, and it was white with red and green and pink little confetti bits on the inside. And then on the top of the soap, all of them had little rosebuds and little leaves on them to signify her. And then, of course, on the back, I put the year she was born and the year she passed, and then the inscription that said, in memory of the woman who built this family, with a picture of her. And I have to say, this was a really big undertaking, especially for the size of my family, considering all of their kids and their kids' spouses, and then their grandkids, and then even the great grandkids. I wanted to make sure that I gave every single person in my family one of each soap, one for my grandfather, one for my grandmother. So in the end, that came down to, I had to make 57 bars of soap for each version. So 57 of my grandfather and 57 of my grandmother. So this was actually a pretty big undertaking for me, with making about 120 bars of soap to give to all of my family members. And honestly, it was just something that I wanted to do because I love making soap, and I knew that I could use my talents, quote unquote, to make a really meaningful but also functional gift as well. And whenever we passed them out at our Christmas Eve party, everyone was just like really touched by the thoughts and the gifts, and it made me really happy. And just, you know, everyone was very misty-eyed about it, because it is the first year now with my grandfather gone, and of course now with both of my grandparents gone. So it was definitely a little bit of a rougher year for a lot of my family having that first Christmas without them. So it was just something that I had the idea to do, and I'm really glad that I made it. It was a really big undertaking, though. All the work was worth it, seeing how much all of my aunts and uncles really appreciated it. Of course, my cousins and all the great grandkids as well. So it was definitely really worth it. And even though I didn't really do like a monetary gift type of thing this year for a lot of people, this was like a big way for me to kind of make something special for all of them to give them. It definitely took a lot of supplies and a lot of time and a lot of effort. So I'm just so happy that everyone really appreciated it in the end, and it really just couldn't have turned out better. So that was pretty much how my Christmas went. I did get a few gifts from people that just couldn't resist and did get me a couple items, and I was very appreciative of it, and they totally understood that I was doing a little bit more of a minimalist Christmas this year. But overall, I actually really enjoyed it. I think I would do it again, and just even more in advance let people know my intentions, because I did have someone that when I told them, I brought up, hey, I'm not doing gifts this year, is that okay with you? They're like, oh yeah. She didn't tell me she already got me a gift. I had a really stress-free Christmas this year as far as the gift giving aspect on that. So in the end, I actually really did like doing a semi-giftless Christmas this year, and I would absolutely do it again. I just think that for a lot of people, we do have so many things, and sometimes giving a gift just to give a gift, sometimes it's not necessarily helpful in some ways, and in the end everything turned out really well. So it might be something I start to employ over the next few years. Not to say that I'll never buy anyone a gift again, it's just I'm trying to be a little bit more mindful in a lot of different ways, and I actually think it turned out really great this year. So I did really enjoy my giftless Christmas. Alright guys, so this is what the final spread looks like. I will have a link to this in my Etsy shop if you are wanting to purchase this for yourself. And that is pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe. You can follow me on social media. Links are below. And until my next video, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.